My parents took the $85,000 my late dad saved for my college and gave it to my stepbrother for his career. 10 years later, after I became a doctor, they came begging me to help pay my stepdad's heart attack bills. They didn't bring apologies. They brought panic. I didn't argue. I handed them my stepbrother's demo CD. My mom remarried when I was 12, and my stepbrother became the center of the universe overnight. He sang show tunes at dinner. He talked about Broadway like it was guaranteed. My stepdad ate it up. The classic, cool dad trying to buy loyalty. I was the kid grinding AP Chem and Bio, volunteering at a hospital, and working part-time to save for school. The favoritism was cartoonish. When I made Honor Society, my stepdad smiled for 2 seconds. "That's nice, honey." Then he added, "Did you hear he got a callback?" His callback notice went on the fridge. My science award went in a drawer. I kept my head down because I had an exit plan. My dad died when I was 8, and before that he set up a real education fund for me. By senior year, it had grown to about $85,000. I assumed for my education meant for my education. That was my mistake. Spring of senior year, my mom knocked on my door with a voice that always meant trouble. "Honey, we need to talk about college." She said they were redirecting my fund to my stepbrother because he'd gotten into a New York program and this was his shot. My stepdad stepped in like a backup singer. "You can take out loans," he said. "Builds character." I tried logic. I tried begging. I tried reminding them the money came from my father. None of it mattered. They'd already started the transfer. And my stepbrother smiled and said, "When I make it big, I'll pay you back." So I did what they told me to do. I took loans. I worked nights at a diner, tutored on the side, and studied whenever my eyes stayed open. I made it through undergrad, then med school, then residency. I also graduated with about $250,000 in debt. Meanwhile, my stepbrother's big break turned into part-time retail and local theater, still living at home, still calling it a phase. At 32, I opened a family medicine practice in Portland. Life finally felt stable. Then my mom called hysterical. My stepdad collapsed at work, major heart attack, surgery, ICU. My brain went clinical until she finally admitted the real issue. Their insurance barely covered anything, and the bills were heading toward $180,000. "We thought, since you're a doctor, maybe you could help," she said. I looked at my loan balance on my phone and laughed once. It came out ugly. I told her I'd think about it. The next morning, I drove to the house. My stepbrother answered the door at 11 like waking up was negotiable. I walked past a wall of framed photos of him on stage. None of me, obviously. I asked him what he was doing to help. He blinked. "I don't have heart surgery money." "But you had my money," I said. "For years." He tried to shrug it off. Mom and my dad decided that. I didn't force them. That's when I pulled out the CD. First, I slid it onto the coffee table, label facing up. Then, I watched his smile drop like a curtain. Next, I said, "Remember these? You spent my fund printing them." After that, I added, "I bought one on eBay. Felt fair." Then, I stood up and tightened my grip on my keys. Again, he asked, "So you're not helping with the bills?" Finally, I said, "I'm helping exactly as much as you helped me." He chased me to the door. "What does that mean?" "It means check the couch cushions for spare change," I said. "Maybe sell your headshots." He didn't laugh this time. My mom called later, crying and angry. "This is life or death. He'll get care," I said. "But you need the hospital's financial counselor, payment plans, charity care." "You could just pay it," she snapped. And there it was. My success was family. My struggle was character. I didn't write them a check. I let them feel the consequence. They got assistance that covered a big chunk and a long payment plan for the rest. My mom went back to full-time work. My stepbrother got a second job for the first time in his life. Months later, he texted a real apology. Not magical, but specific. After that, my stepdad asked to meet for coffee. He didn't defend himself. He slid over a promissory note to repay the $85,000 over 10 years, with interest. "We were wrong," he said. "We stole from you. I'm not close to them now, but I'm not burning anymore either. I built my life without their help, and they finally learned what figure it out feels like." What would you have done? Hand them the money, or hand them the CD?